In this session, we're going to cover mobile app basics, entering time blocks by day, and autofilling a scheduled week from a prior week. After having logged into the Workday app, we're brought to the CMU Workday home screen. From here, we are able to check our inbox and view Workday to-dos, view and update our user profile, look up other CMU employees, view your payslips, and most important to this video, enter your time. Upon selecting Enter Time, we're presented with the workweek calendar. By default, the calendar will always open on today's date. We can then click the forward and back buttons or swipe along the work weeks in order to switch to the appropriate week. Here, we will assume that we worked 8.5 hours on Monday. The first step is to touch the day that you want to enter your time and then touch the green plus enter time button to access the time entry menu. Now we can enter our time. The time type will default to time worked. If you're presented with more options, please check with your department's time initiator or the ESC for more details. We can then select our time in by tapping the in box using the scroll wheel to set the time. We then set our out time the same way via the out box. The out reason will default to the option out, and all punch outs should be listed as such. Finally, the position option must be switched to your current working role. This will default to Job Management Student Job Profile. This group is only used to signify that you are in fact a student worker. However, this group does not represent your employer and therefore cannot have time submitted against it. You must make certain to select your group, otherwise you'll be unable to submit your time. So, from this menu, we will select the University Store. Once we are all done, we can enter an optional comment. If we have no comments to add, we can then select the Done button located in the upper right corner. Once we submit our time, it will take us back to the weekly Enter Time screen. If we select Monday, we can see we have correctly entered our 8.5 hour shift. Keep in mind, if we were to take a lunch break during our shift, we'd want to enter 2 separate time entries for the same day. Once all time is entered for the work week, we can then select the Submit This Week button. After selecting that option, the app will ask us to verify our time entries and will then allow us to click Done. After submitting the optional comment, the time will then be sent to the time initiator for approval. There are 3 symbols to notify what status our time is in the approval process. If a time entry has no check mark beside it, then our time has been entered but has not been submitted to the time initiator. If the time entry has an empty check mark next to it, then the time has been submitted but has not yet been approved. And finally, if the time has a solid check mark next to it, then the time has been both submitted and approved. Lastly, if you're a worker that has consistent hours for consecutive weeks, or has little to no changes to your schedule, the Workday mobile app provides users with the option to copy from prior work week. To do this, one must select the option Autofill once inside the Enter Time menu. This option allows you to copy previous weeks to the week that is currently highlighted within the app. So we will select our previous week in order to copy it over to our current week, and we will then select Done. Once the autofill is complete, you can go through and make any necessary changes. However, if it looks correct, then you can proceed with submitting your time for that week.